A days-long boil advisory in Galena impacts local businesses and how they operate. I'm Samantha Walker, and I'll have that story coming up.
Plus, Missouri Southern evacuates students in a dorm building that catches fire. And the city of Fairland, Oklahoma celebrates the opening of a new Boys and Girls Club.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Galena residents and businesses are left struggling to deal with a boil advisory that's been issued for days. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment has issued a boil advisory for Galena, citing the city's current inability to maintain acceptable chlorine levels. Officials say this puts the water system at risk for bacterial contamination. KOAM's Samantha Walker spoke with local businesses to learn how they're dealing with the situation.
It's definitely an inconvenience, but something that you have to do if you want to be able to open up and provide services for your customers.
A boil advisory in Galena is leaving local businesses scrambling to find ways to stay open. Sweet Creek Bakery and Diner didn't hear about the advisory until they were 10 minutes away from opening this past weekend.
So we had to backtrack. We had already prepared for the day and had tons of stuff set up and ready to go, and we had to throw out all the coffee, 4 gallons of tea, all of the food that we had prepped.
Myers says the diners had to find creative solutions to the boil advisory. She bought bottles of water and soda and gallons of tea to be able to serve customers since they are unable to use their drink fountain. And the diner, which is known for its coffee, has had to bring in a small coffee pot to replace its coffee machine, taking 20 minutes to brew rather than its normal 3. She said the advisory has impacted her business financially.
We were down like 50% yesterday, and I haven't looked at the numbers yet today, but it's been really slow. We were obviously prepped and ready for a Saturday and weren't able to use any of that product, so that was a waste of product. And then having to go out and actually purchase all those bottles of water and all those products that we weren't included in our budget for this week.
I spoke with one resident who says they drank tap water for a full day of the advisory because they weren't aware it may not be safe. Both residents and local businesses say they wish the advisory had been communicated better.
I think in this day and age, that's kind of an important thing, is just finding ways to utilize the systems that are out there to get the word out, because it is important on something like that.
We did social media. I mean, I know that doesn't hit everybody. It hits a good chunk of people, but not everybody. So we immediately did social media, our city webpage. We have an email blast system that we use, and then we have a sign out front, which it does any types of updates and advertisements, and it was on out there.
Myers said she did not receive an email alert about the advisory until the Monday after it was announced. Mayor Grove says the reason it took longer was because the issue was noticed on a weekend when not all state agencies are operating. As a result, they had to wait for testing to come back. Reporting in Galena, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Now, Mayor Grove says they are waiting for the results of one final sample. She hopes the Kansas Department of Health and Environment will be able to lift the advisory sometime tomorrow. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, temperatures are finally cooling down. We had a weak cold front move through yesterday, so we woke up to low 60s for our morning low, and then only got up to about 89, 90, 91 across the region. It's pretty nice out there right now in Joplin, about 80 degrees. So we're dipping back down to low to mid 60s for our overnight low again tonight. So we'll wake up again with a crisp, cool morning. Temperatures about 77 out in Stockton and Nevada, 83 in Neodesha Yates Center, 80 in Joplin. So we got cooler temperatures in the eastern counties, still a little bit warmer out in the western counties. You can see winds are out of the east, but we're looking ahead to Thursday morning. So tomorrow morning, winds are going to shift, and we got a cold front moving through again, bringing some rain chances this time. I'll have more details in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, a building at Missouri Southern caught fire today. The fire started on a column away from but attached to a dorm building. Now, students were evacuated from that building safely. Officials say it started when a contractor working on the exterior column cut into an electric line inside the column, sparking the fire. A Miami City Councilman announces his resignation. The news came before this week's City Council meeting. According to the City of Miami's Facebook page, Dustin Pittman resigned from his position as councilman and trustee, citing health reasons for his decision to step down. Pittman's resignation leaves the Ward 4 seat on the Miami City Council vacant for now. With Missouri's primary now behind us, Senator Josh Hawley kicked off his re-election campaign today. He spoke to a crowd of supporters in Ozark this afternoon. Missouri's senior senator took aim at his Democratic challenger, Lucas Coons, challenging Coons' positions on a number of topics like immigration and renewable energy. Hawley went on to say he believes public safety is the #1 issue on the minds of Missouri voters this election season.
Restoring some basic order, keeping people safe, getting our border closed, getting our kids safe, keeping people safe at work, at school, at home. I mean, this should not be hard. I mean, this is where we're at right now in the state.
Late today, Coons accepted an invitation to a televised debate in Sedalia next week and asked Hawley to do so as well. Well, the Boys and Girls Club cut the ribbon for their new Fairland, Oklahoma location. The club offers tutoring and after-school care for kids. KOAM's Melissa Alexis explains how the new location will help them achieve their goals.
We cannot measure what it means for a young person to have a safe place.
Ashley Landon is a mom whose kids are members of the Boys and Girls Club. She says this new Fairland location is much needed as it will bring their services to more families.
My kids love it. They come every year. They've been coming for many years and just have watched it grow.
She says the Boys and Girls Club provides her family with childcare so her and her husband can work full-time.
A safe place for my kids to be every day. I don't have to worry about where they're at, if they're being taken care of, if they're and they're having fun.
Mackenzie Garst is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Ottawa County. And she says the new Boys and Girls Club location allows the program to expand and provide more kids with programs that will protect them from being unsupervised after school. She says this new program is especially needed in a small rural town like Fairland.
Through a variety of programs like art and games room and video games and outdoor time, all the fun things that kids love to do.
But the Fairland Boys and Girls Club doesn't just offer games and activities. They also offer tutoring.
We want kids who are prepared for their future, whether that be to go to college, the workforce, whatever, the military, whatever that looks like.
The Fairland Boys and Girls Club will serve kids from ages 6 through 18. Reporting in Ottawa County, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The creation of this new Fairland Boys and Girls Club was made possible through a partnership with the Cherokee Nation. Well, coming up, we'll have tips to make sure first-time students succeed in the classroom. Pregnant women with gestational diabetes do not end up with a higher risk of breast cancer. Some past studies indicated there might be an association between the two. But in a new study, Danish researchers looked at nearly 750,000 mothers over a 22-year period. They found 3.4% were diagnosed with gestational diabetes during pregnancy, though. There were no more likely to develop breast cancer than the rest of the women. Heading back to school can be exciting, but chances are students are feeling more than one emotion. And if a child is going to school for the first time, that can bring its own challenges. Mandy Gaither has more with a licensed therapist on how to help first-time students succeed at school.
From summer fun to the classroom, it can be a tough transition for anyone, especially those who have never done it before.
When a child's going to school for the first time, it can be really hard for everyone.
Licensed therapist Jody Baumstein with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta's Strong for Life program says new and unfamiliar things can be scary for both a parent and their first-time student. She says you can help your child succeed by tackling unknowns, arm them with social skills.
Having other kids come over, setting up play dates where they can just interact and play and practice those skills of talking to each other.
Baumstein says to also practice naming feelings, since children often don't have the words to describe their emotions. Help them learn to ask for help, something they may not be experienced at doing with someone unfamiliar like a new teacher, and teach coping skills to help with different emotions.
It's like closing their eyes, counting to 10, taking slow, deep breaths, using their senses to kind of bring them back and ground them in the present moment. These are things that can really calm the body, calm the mind.
Baumstein says prioritizing good quality sleep as well as reducing after-school screen time is also important and can make time for healthy things like physical activity and social connection.
Really empower them to start to take control and do things that make themselves feel better.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, the Pitt State Gorillas hit the field for their first practice of the new season.
Well, it is August, so the hot temperatures are normal, but we're looking ahead to pretty mild temperatures for the next weekend, a little bit after that as well. Taking a look downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Center. The cooler temperatures start tonight. Well, they started early this morning with our low being in the low 60s, but we do have another front that's moving in. You can start to see where those storms are, still pretty far northwest of Wichita. They're going to be moving into our area in the morning. So the cold front is going to bring another drop to the temperatures that we already saw a drop this morning. Yesterday, our high got up to about 98, 99, 100, even higher than that in some areas. And our low got down to 62. That's pretty nice. I know I woke up to some pretty crisp, cool air, and then our high only got up to upper 80s and low 90s across the region. So we had that minor risk, not a really heavy, not a strong risk for heat. That continues again tomorrow. A little bit less of a heat, especially in those northern counties. So we have those showers that are moving through, bringing that cold front, mostly for the northern counties. So we see less of a threat for heat in the morning for those northern counties. And then Friday, basically all of us are out of that heat risk. Like I said, we see a drop in temperatures to lower 80s, some areas even being in the upper 70s for the highs this weekend. We can thank that secondary cold front that made its way through. It's going to be pretty early in the morning, 5:30 a.m. on Thursday. We have those easterly winds, and then you can see as that storm moves in, winds shift out of the north. So it's bringing in another cold northern air mass. It starts off maybe an isolated thunderstorm out there too, but mostly it's just going to be scattered showers that are going to continue to push north, even a little bit east, even a little bit southeast as it moves across the border to southwest Missouri. So Joplin, Carthage, Carl Junction, Webb City area, about 10 a.m. all the way up to Nevada, getting some heavier rain showers. Then they clear out. We may see another isolated shower or two, pretty light, as we move into the afternoon. Looking ahead, we have even heavier chances of rainfall this weekend. Starting Saturday afternoon, pretty widespread showers. They're going to be scattered across the area. Those start Saturday afternoon and continue Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday and Thursday. So we are going to have a long stretch of rainy weather, and I know we've all been really needing the rain in our area. Unfortunately, tomorrow, the rain that we're getting is not going to accumulate a lot of rainfall. So we've got maybe up to half an inch out in Yates Center as that storm moves in, but it really dissipates as it moves into the rest of the counties and cities. So less than 1/10 of an inch in Joplin and Columbus, Pittsburgh, about 2/10 of an inch. Not a lot of rainfall on Thursday, but it is bringing that drop of temperatures down to 85 on Friday, 80 on Saturday, 82 on Sunday, and then you start to see those scattered showers Saturday, rain Sunday, scattered showers on Monday. Those continue all the way through Thursday. Temperatures after the rain moves out do start to warm right back up to those normal August high temperatures in the 90s.
But in the meantime, enjoy. And getting a little bit of rain, and I'm listening to your advice. I didn't mow today. I'm mowing tomorrow so that it'll be in there freshly mowed right before the rain the next day. Cool temperatures. And
that sounds, I think I'm going to have to do the same thing. I tried to mow, this week, didn't get the chance, been a little busy, but Friday sounds like the perfect day.
Friday does sound, it'll be cool in the morning. It'll be nice.
It definitely will be.
Not bad. All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, coming up, good news for home buyers.
Mortgage rates down to their lowest levels of the year. At the same time, housing inventory just hit a post-pandemic high. I'm Lydia Hu in New York. Coming up, I'll tell you what that means for folks looking to buy a home.
Well, some good news on the housing market. Mortgage rates are at their lowest level this year, and inventory is hitting a post-pandemic high. Fox Business correspondent Lydia Hugh has the details.
Good news for prospective home buyers. Mortgage rates are falling after Friday's jobs report that sparked concerns about the economy. Investors searching for safety are piling into treasuries, which drives the yield on the 10-year bond down. The 30-year mortgage tracks the 10-year yield. That means falling mortgage rates. Rates on the 30-year are sinking to their lowest that we've seen this year. Bank rate shows a 6.56% on a 30-year mortgage today. That's down from 6.83% just last week. Home buyers are rushing to seize the opportunity. New data today shows mortgage applications are up 6.9% in the past week. Applications to refinance are also surging, almost 16% higher. More encouraging news for home buyers. Housing stock is hitting a post-pandemic high. There are 36% more homes on the market now than there were this time last year. These improvements will help a home buyer in the short term, but most homeowners have a mortgage that's well below 6%, and that could deter them from selling. Listen.
Every improvement is going to bring some people back into the market, and so it is a helpful development, but we've got more to go before we see a lot of those locked-in sellers really get off the fence.
Home prices are stable from a year ago, according to data from Realtor.com. The median price of a home for sale in July was nearly $440,000. Reporting from New York, I'm Lydia Hu, Fox Business.
Well, up next, we'll learn how the Freeman Hospital NICU is celebrating Team USA at the Olympics. While the world continues to compete for Olympic medals, these tiny athletes compete for cuteness. NICU babies at the Freeman Hospital in Joplin put on their best game faces while dressed as proper Olympian athletes. Now, these athletes represented everything from wrestlers to swimmers to track stars and more.
Because his doctors are like saying how he's a fighter and how he's so strong, and I just view the Olympics as like people who are strong and fighters and just fight through anything and everything.
All of these NICU athletes are worth their weight in gold, of course. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. How a couple is trying to breathe new life into a historic building in Fort Scott. Plus, the unique way the Branson SWAT team is converting a former theater building into a new police department.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A couple is restoring a historic building in Fort Scott. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more on what they plan to do with it once it's complete.
It had a fire which destroyed a lot of it, but not all of it, and then they had another one shortly after that, and it totally destroyed the whole inside of the building.
What is now just an empty shell of a building could soon turn into this.
We want to get along and we want to give to this community, and basically that's kind of what we're doing.
Luana and Al Neese are taking advantage of what is known as the Schultz Payne building in Fort Scott and are hoping to give it new life.
I don't think anybody, I think this building would have been demoed because nobody would have tackled this. There's just no way you could have done it any much less than what we're doing it for.
At one point, the building was falling apart at the seams, but now the seams are shored up and the building is ready for its makeover.
Obviously, we couldn't save the other stuff, but we can save this. We can save the shell, and you know, hopefully this building will stand for another 100, 200 years.
Despite complications that come with restoring such an old structure, the excitement is building not only within Al and Luana, but the surrounding community as well.
If this building could talk, I can't imagine what we would learn. Because you learn so much just by opening them up and looking.
Reporting in Fort Scott, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
There is no official day when restoration will be complete. However, Luana says they hope to have the building restored by spring of next year. Can't wait to check it out. A unique form of demolition is underway on a part of the former White House Theater in Branson. Crews are transforming the one-time entertainment venue into a new police department for the city. SWAT teams are taking advantage of the setting to do some training by acting as the demolition crew. They're going through the building, knocking down doors, busting glass, and using explosives. Why not? The city chose to renovate the White House Theater to save money and to get a higher quality result.
When the mayor mentioned that we're saving $10 million, I got to see some of the original designs at the first location. It was going to be a smaller building, and yeah, it was to build from scratch and blow a lot of rock up and everything like that. It was going to be a lot more money. Now we already have the shell here. It's a faster project. It's giving us more room. We're on 12 acres. We can do our driver's training in the parking lots before we had to go find parking lots. It's just opening up so many more options for us.
The $16 million renovation is scheduled to be finished by early 2026. Well, the school year is just around the corner for Carthage high schoolers, and the band students are already preparing, but they have to practice with more than just their instruments. They use an app to help coordinate their routines. KOAM photojournalist Ty Parks got an up-close look at the practice.
Okay, so we have for the full band, we have a 2-week band camp. So this is our second week. We have just 3 more days left, today and tomorrow and Friday. But we started last week, and we started with fundamentals. In fundamentals and music camp. So in the morning, we start spending time giving them stretching. We stretch every morning before we start. We start acclimating them to the outdoor weather because it's warmer. And you're there. We spend time in fundamentals teaching them all their different moves from forward march, backward march, slides, and all of that so that they know what to do once we get out here and put the movements to the show. We definitely do not just do a random Sunday stroll. It's a marching technique. We always have to start on the same foot so that we're in uniform. Being out in a band, we wear uniforms. We want to be in uniform and be synchronized in the movements that we do. So we teach them how to properly, step off, whether toes up, their heel hits the ground. All those intricate details. That's all happens in our fundamentals. So.
Hold in. Here we go. 16. You have to think ahead, like 6 to 10 steps. Like you have to think, like, what am I gonna do next? How does it line up with the music? It's just it's kind of a process to where if you're not fully engaged with it, you're not gonna be in time with everyone else. So it's just a mindset. And sometimes you get into tunnel vision where you're just thinking of what you're doing, what's going on. Like nothing's going on around you. It's just you and the field, and that's kind of like it's kind of nostalgic.
This requires a lot of self-discipline. These students have to come out here on very hot days and still work. The turf can be still quite warm. We do watch the weather. We have an app that shows us where we are, and so that we can take the certain number of breaks to make sure that they're staying hydrated and not overheating. We never want that to happen, but it does take a lot of exertion, and so if this is not something that you actually enjoy and are passionate about, then it's not something you're going to enjoy and work hard at and want to be here.
All of the routines will culminate in a 7-minute show just in time for competition season. That'll be great to watch. Well, the Ottawa County Fair is underway this week with activities for the entire family. This afternoon, animal shows took place, including dairy, cattle, and sheep, and then later, the carnival opened up for the first time this week.
My brothers and sisters always showed cattle, so I just wanted to try it out. I just always loved it. Highlights, just really helping out.
The fair runs through Saturday, August 10th. A bit later, waiting on a trip home.
Boeing Starliner crew could end up stuck in space until February. I'm Jonathan Seri in Atlanta. I'll have details coming up.
Looking forward to a nice cool down. That started this morning. And we're going to head and take a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Still going to be cool this evening. Temperatures are dropping down already into the upper 70s, and we're getting down to the lower to mid 60s again tonight for our overnight low. We did that this morning after a weak cold front moved through Tuesday. Luckily, we have another cold front moving in. It's going to be a little bit stronger, so we see the effects of the cold front last all weekend and even into early next week. You can start to see some of those thunderstorms pushing off as they move into Kansas, western Kansas. We're not going to see the storms until early Thursday morning, so we've got some time, and by the time they reach our area, mostly just going to be some scattered showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm or still, but we're really just excited about the cooler temperatures. So today we had a bit of a minor risk still because of the heat, but as those storms move in on Thursday, southern counties aren't getting a ton of rainfall, if any, so may still see a little bit warmer temperatures out in the southern counties through Thursday, but you can see those northern counties have little to no heat risk because that's where the majority of those showers are pushing through, so they'll likely be a little bit cooler on Thursday. Then we move into Friday. Basically, all of us are in a little to no heat risk. So it is August. It's a little bit of a fluke that we're seeing these cooler temperatures, highs Friday, Saturday into the lower 80s to even upper 70s in some areas, which is very weird for August heat. But we can thank this little storm that's moving into Wichita. It's been about 5:30 in the morning and pushing into our far western counties about 6:30. Like I said, you may see an isolated thunderstorm or two. You can start to see where there's some stronger areas of rainfall. That's going to be about 8 a.m., so it's coming in a little bit later than previously shown in the model runs, but they're going to continue to push through mostly our central and northern counties, Parsons, Pittsburgh. But by the time it reaches Joplin, mainly just a shower. Not going to be a lot of accumulation either, unfortunately, but don't fret because we do have more rain chances this weekend. Starting on Saturday, well, actually starting Friday, you may see a shower or two in those far western counties, but they dissipate pretty quickly if they do pop up. But Saturday, we're going to have isolated showers across most of the area Saturday afternoon, starting just after noon to 1 p.m. Tomorrow, like I said, little to no accumulation across the area. Most of the area that's going to get rain, Yates Center, Iola, about half of an inch. But the rest of us, sprinkle, a drizzle, not much else going on once you get towards the central and eastern counties. But like I said, still more rain chances ahead and like cooler temperatures. Friday, mid to lower 80s. Saturday, low 80s, upper 70s. And then we start those scattered shower and rain chances all weekend and into early next week.
All right, well, we've got a lot of chances for rain, and that's good because we definitely need them at this point.
Yes, we are still in that little dry region for drought conditions.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, coming up in sports, the Webb City All-Stars try to punch their ticket to the Midwest Region Championship. Plus, the Joplin Outlaws play their final home game of the summer. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Pittsburgh State football begins defending its 2 consecutive MIAA championships this morning at Carney Smith Stadium. The Gorillas hold their first practice of the fall season with a team full of new and familiar faces. The Tom Anthony era is officially underway in Pittsburgh as the Gorillas hold their first practice of the fall 2024 season. Pittsburgh State is picked to finish second in the preseason MIAA media and coaches polls. The Gorillas know the season opener is fast approaching, but feel good about the progress made on day one.
Looking back in December and just all the time after the season, like with just like all the work that the team has put in and all how close we've gotten, how much work that actually has gone into it, and just looking back on that is just super exciting to see, like, you know, and all the energy and stuff on day one. And it's just a great time to see all the guys back together as one group.
I mean, the last 2 years have been pretty evident, left with a bad taste in our mouth. And we all, kind of came together and made a decision that we want to change things around here, we want to raise the standard to a new level, and that's the goal.
Over at the Little League Baseball Region Tournament in Whitestown, Indiana, The Webb City All-Stars have won their first 2 games. Another 2 victories would give them a region championship and a berth in the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. A battle of 2 unbeaten teams in the Midwest region. Webb City takes on Sioux Falls, South Dakota in the semifinals. Joel Beverlin gets the Missouri State champs on the board first with an RBI single in the bottom of the first inning. Later in the frame, Levi Smith hits a grounder towards third. That makes it 2-0 Webb City. We're still in the first when Drew Clorer makes it 3-0 with an RBI ground out. Webb City off to the races. Bottom 4, Sioux Falls tries to get on base with a bunt down the third baseline. George Hines makes an incredible barehanded play to get the out at first. South Dakota would come back to tie it, but in the 5th, Webb City adds 1 more with the bases loaded walk before Max Woodmansey hits this one between the gap and short and third. Everybody's going to be safe. Another run scores. Webb City takes a 6-3 lead into the final half inning, but Sioux Falls not going to go away without a fight. This RBI single down the line into right field cuts the lead down to 2. No sweat though. A batter later, Woodmansey gets a ground out to second. That ends the game. Webb City improves to 3-0 in the region tournament and will play for a championship and a trip to Williamsport on Friday. Back here in Joplin, the Outlaws play their final home game of the season, hosting the Fort Smith Marshals, who they just beat 4-1 last night. Outlaws starting pitcher Trent Zarecki walks in a run in the first, but then gets 2 strikeouts to escape a bases-loaded jam. Joplin would get that run back quickly. Bottom 1, CJ Sapicki knocks this one over the left fielder's head all the way to the wall. Andre Jackson and Ravon Morgan both score. Outlaws score 3 in the first inning. Back on the mound next inning, Zarecki locked in. He gets his 3rd strikeout of the day and he's far from finished. Next inning, there's his 4th on a drop 3rd strike and to throw over to first. And then in the 4th, Zarecki gets his 5th punch out of the game. Outlaws run away with it after they score 5 in the 6th inning. They earn their 35th victory of the summer. Final score 12-2. That's it for sports. Back with more news after this.
It was supposed to be an 8-day test mission to the International Space Station for Boeing's new Starliner spacecraft. It's now been more than 60 days. 2 veteran NASA astronauts are stuck in space due to issues with the ship. Fox News senior correspondent Jonathan Suri has their story.
Still no return date to Earth for astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams. The safety of Boeing's Starliner spacecraft is still in question. Engineers are unsure what the root cause of the helium leaks and thruster problems are on the ship. They brought in new propulsion experts to work on the issues with other teams.
What we're trying to do is reduce that uncertainty, see if we can drive some more consensus amongst our team.
While they figure it out, potential backup plans are already in motion. One option being discussed is having Butch and Sonny join SpaceX's Crew 9 mission. This would ultimately leave the pair up in space until February 2025.
If we did fly up Crew 9 with 2 crew, our plan is to leave Butch and Sonny on board to execute the rest of that expedition. They would return on Crew 9 with the normal crew rotation timing.
If the plan is approved, Boeing Starliner would return to Earth autonomously. NASA, however, says no decision has been made yet. As for Boeing, it released a statement last Friday saying, in part, Boeing remains confident in the Starliner spacecraft and its ability to return safely with crew. SpaceX's Crew 9 mission would not head into space until late September. The launch date pushed back a month to give NASA and Boeing more time to work out Starliner's issues while it's still docked with the ISS. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Well, coming up, we'll learn about the new Lego set designed by the Season 4 winners of Lego Masters. Lego Masters fans can do a build inspired by Season 4 of the Fox series. For the first time, a build from the show has been turned into a set available for purchase worldwide. Fox spoke with the Season 4 winners and Lego designers about the set and how it was made with family time in mind. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Christopher Robert.
The winners of Fox's LEGO Masters Season 4 unveiled the World Wonderliner set at the LEGO store in New York City.
Our lives are shaped by travel. My parents immigrated here in the 80s, 90s, from China all the way to America. We met each other and we had our first kind of big bonding moment when we traveled to Italy together and met in Rome, which is why we have the big Colosseum set right in the middle.
The whole point of the build was to unite people by a passion for not just travel, but for all the different types of cultures out there, all the different people, and that was something we really wanted to celebrate.
They say the set is made with family time in mind.
I think it's such a really unique and fun idea to have a set with 5 different instruction books where you can have 5 different people around your family building together at the same time, and then at the end, everything comes together really easily and quickly.
Senior LEGO designer Samuel Liltorp Johnson and former LEGO Masters Season 1 contestant turned LEGO designer Boone Langston worked closely with the duo and included ways for LEGO enthusiasts at home to personalize their builds.
They had a lot of input immediately. This was really important for us. Is this an aspect we can keep? Or they were very open to expanding and changing their design to make it for not just them, but for families around the globe.
They can put the places they want to go, they can put the places they've been. And we also have these photo holders, these great Lego elements that can hold a little photo. And we want people to be able to remember the trips that they've gone on and celebrate around this Lego model in that way.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
I'd hate to see the price tag on that one. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a mountain lion cub at the Oakland Zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.